When your baby is diagnosed with HIE or a possible subsequent CP diagnosis, the last thing on your mind is going to be legal issues. You are focused on your child and on their care and what this diagnosis even means for your baby's future. But there is something that I want you to hear with all of this. A while back, someone reached out to me after a friend of theirs had shared my content with them. And by the time they saw it, the statute of limitations had already run out with things. There was nothing that I could do for them. Nothing. Imagine knowing that there may have been some answers and that something may have been done to prevent all of this, but because too much time had passed, there was nothing else that could have been done. And these answers were out of reach forever. I don't want that to happen to you if you're watching this today. And if you are watching this and you know someone that is going through what I'm going to be discussing today, please, please, please share this with them, because this might be the thing that gets them to start asking the right medical legal questions about their situation. And those questions might be able to make a difference for them. Now, HIE stands for hypoxic ischemic encephalopathy. It's a type of brain injury that's caused by the lack of oxygen in blood flow. And in our context, this is going to be during labor and delivery. In some cases, this can lead to CP, which affects your child's movement and coordination. Hospitals, they may say that this happened because of genetics or something that was developmental. But if there is no clear evidence that those things caused it, medical malpractice should be investigated as a possible reason for why your baby is having these challenges. And the only way to start being able to understand this is by gathering the medical records. To understand what happened, you need the medical records, not just your records, but also the baby's records. Hospitals do not always make this process easy either, but here's what you need to request in this process. First, ask for the records, including everything from labor and delivery. Then request your baby's records along with the fetal monitoring strips. These strips can track your baby's heart rate during labor. They can show whether there were signs of distress that were either missed or ignored along the way. If the hospital did a placental pathology report, get a copy of that as well. This can provide insight into the issues with the placenta, which may have contributed as to what happened. Also, make sure that you get the umbilical cord gas numbers, and that's going to include the base excess values. These numbers can help determine if your baby experienced oxygen deprivation at birth or close to around that time. If you had a C-section, request the surgical notes. They can reveal sometimes if there were other types of delays and complications and if they may have played a role in everything. If your baby spent time in the NICU, these are records that you want to get to. They're important. If an MRI or ultrasounds were done, make sure that you get those results and the reports that are associated with those types of imaging. MRIs can show the pattern of injury that your baby may have had in their brain. And this can help determine if there was a partial prolonged injury, an acute profound injury, or some type of mixed pattern. These things are huge and they can make a difference in understanding what may have went wrong. Now, every state has a deadline for taking legal action with these types of cases. Some gives families more time, but others may have a very short window. Once that time runs out, in a lot of cases, there's not going to be any second chances. I still think back with that family that I spoke to who called me and everything was too late. They had no idea that the clock was ticking during this process. Someone had sent them my video late in the process, but by the time they watched it, their legal options had already vanished. This is why sharing information like this, it matters. If a family does not know what to look for, then they may not even realize that something went wrong. And if too much time has passed, they may never get an opportunity to find out. Hospitals usually will require that your request for these records, that it be in writing. And when you ask for the records, see if you can get them electronically. Some hospitals will provide a downloadable link or a disk, which can be cheaper in a lot of instances than getting a bunch of paper records. Do not assume that these records will always be easy to get. Sometimes hospitals will take their time or tell families certain things are missing, and that's why it's important to make these requests for these types of records as soon as you can. When you are ready to explore the possibility of legal action, choosing the right lawyer is extremely important. And to do that, research is key. It's key with all of this. Check out the lawyer's website and look for materials on birth injury cases like HIE and CP. See if they have videos or articles or other types of resources that show you that they understand the issues. You are watching me right now on a video, for example. This is how I try to make these issues more understandable, and it helps you to get a feel for who I am and my approach and my law firm's approach to these types of cases. It's also important to find out if the lawyer is going to charge you initially for a birth injury investigation. Here at my firm, we're not going to charge families anything upfront to do that initial investigation into the case. But not every firm is going to work the same way with this. Some will charge several $1,000s just to get the investigation started. So it's important that you understand how each firm operates before you move forward with them in this process. If you do decide to reach out to me, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have you to sign a medical release form. And what this is this will allow me to be able to gather the necessary medical records and begin our investigation. I need to do this in order to be able to give you an honest assessment of whether or not I think this is something that we can help you with. If you are in this situation, don't wait to start gathering the records. And if you know someone who's going through this, a family member, a friend, please share this with them. Not later, not when you think they might be ready, but do it now. Because waiting can mean the difference between getting answers and never really knowing what happened with your baby and their birth injury or their HIE brain injury at birth. Again, I'm Marcus Boston, and if you have any other questions about your baby's HIE brain injury at birth or subsequent CP diagnosis, if you have any of these types of questions from a medical legal perspective, don't hesitate to reach out and contact me. You can find out more information about me in my profile. My information is there. If you're on certain apps, you could just send me a DM and we can start chatting a little bit about your baby story and what you have going on, or you could just wait and you could find out my information in the picture that follows this video. All right, that's going to be it for this afternoon's longer educational video. Again, I'm Marcus Boston. Have a great afternoon, everybody.